What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Zero Lab. Today we're taking a look at the top 5 underrated cards in Genetic Apex, in my opinion. So we want to take a look at these cards that they've been seeing a little bit of play, but not a ton of play, and I think that they could see a little bit more play if more attention was drawn to them and how good some of their attacks and abilities and effects are in the game. So we're going to move on to number 1, Hypno. Hypno is a stage 1 Pokemon. 100 HP, has that Psy Punch attack for 3 energy, does 50, but that's not really what we're here for. Hypno has the Sleep Pendulum ability that says once during your turn you may flip a coin if heads your opponent's active Pokemon is now asleep. Status conditions are super strong in TCG Pocket, and sleep and paralysis are both very, very good because they mean your opponent can't attack or retreat on the following turn. Now, obviously, your opponent could flip heads to flip out of that sleep, and you have to flip heads yourself to put them to sleep. But just on a stage 1 Pokemon, the ability to put your opponent's Pokemon to sleep every turn can be very, very strong, when a lot of the times we're 2 or 3 shotting our opponent's Pokemon in the game to keep them from attacking or retreating is very, very, very strong. And because Hypno is just a stage 1, a 1-1 or 2-2 line isn't too hard to fit into a lot of decks, and it can buy us that time we need to set up, attach all of our energy, and begin attacking to win the game. And it's also a way for us to come back in the game if we fall behind early, as long as we get, obviously, those good coin flips. Coin flips are very important in TCG Pocket right now. And if you want to lean into that variance of flipping heads and hoping your opponent flips tails, Hypno is the card for you. A couple of decks that I think it fits really well in. A 1-1 line can fit in the Mewtwo Gardevoir deck. I think it's good in any stage 2 deck, like Charizard or Venusaur or Blastoise if you're trying to set up. And you can put it into a coughing deck, like a wheezing deck as well. You can both poison and put them to sleep at the same time. And I think that would be very strong too. Moving on to our second card is EXeggutor EX. Now, EXeggutor EX hasn't seen a ton of play. It's seen a little bit of play, but I think this card is way better than people give it credit for. 160 HP means it's not getting one-hit KO'd by things like Mewtwo, and it has that tropical swing attack for just 1 grass energy, so a very economical attacker, not sinking too much energy into the Pokemon. It just does 40 damage, and if you flip heads, it does another 40 damage, so potentially you're doing 80 damage on turn 2 of the game when you evolve up into EXeggutor EX. I think there's a lot of things to pair this Pokemon with as well. If you have something that needs a little bit more time to be powered up on your bench, let's say Wigglytuff EX, for example, which we might see later on in this video. I think that's another underrated card. But let's say you have something on your bench that takes a little bit more time to power up. Well, we sink 1 energy into this EXeggutor. We have things like potions and Ericas to heal it up so it can tank for a little while we attach energy on the bench. And it only takes 1 energy to attack with, and doing 80 for 1 energy is super strong. And even doing 40 is fine. And the mixture of doing 40 plus 80, let's say we Tropical Swing 1 time and flip tails, Tropical Swing another time and hit heads, that's 2-shotting a Pikachu EX. So I think this card is very strong and very underrated right now in the game. Moving on to our number 3 card is Lilligant. Now, grass types don't have the best attackers right now, and obviously Lilligant is a stage 1, so you have to find the evolution. It takes 2 energy to attack. But when you have it powered up, it has the Leaf Supply attack that does 50, respectable damage, and then it takes a grass energy from your energy zone and attaches it to one of your benched grass Pokemon. This is the only grass energy acceleration that we have in the game. And when things like Venusaur EX have such a strong attack as their second attack with that giant bloom, but it takes 4 energy to attack with, sometimes we need a little bit of help powering it up, and Lilligant can definitely get us there. However, it might be a little bit too slow, but as the only grass energy acceleration in the game, and with some pretty respectable damage output, I think Lilligant is a little bit underrated, and I'd like to see it played a little bit more, and it's probably the best way to play Venusaur EX if you're interested in playing that deck. Taking a look at number 4, I've already talked about this card a little bit in the video when we were talking about EXeggutor EX, but Wigglytuff EX is massively underrated. Pretty chunky Pokemon, Sleepy Song attack for 3 colorless energy, so it can be splashed into basically any deck, no matter the energy type. Does 80 damage, which is 2-shotting basically everything in the game except for the bigger stage 2 EXs. and it just puts your opponent's active Pokemon to sleep. And we talked about this already with Hypno, and we're going to talk about it again with our next card. But putting your opponent's Pokemon to sleep is so strong in the game because they have to flip out of that sleep. If they don't, they can't attack, they can't retreat. And it just buys you turns in the game. Let's say you're going up against a Charizard EX that's like fully powered up, ready to go. The only way to stop that is to put it to sleep or paralyze it so that it can't attack, and Wigglytuff just puts them right to sleep. So Wigglytuff can be paired with EXeggutor, Wigglytuff can be paired with a Weezing, Wigglytuff can be paired with all sorts of things. And I think that Sleepy Song attack is a lot stronger than people give it credit for. Now moving on to the number 5 card, that is Frosmoth, and this is very similar to the Wigglytuff EX, except we have energy acceleration for this card in the form of Misty. Frosmoth has the Powder Snow attack for 40, and it just puts your opponent's active Pokemon to sleep. Obviously, we're relying a lot on coin flips here. Coin flips with Misty to power it up, coin flips to hope your opponent flips tails so that they stay asleep, but I do think that Frosmoth is very good in a lot of water decks because sleep is just that status condition that can buy you a couple turns if you fall behind in the game. There isn't a ton of comeback potential in TCG Pocket, and sleep and paralysis are really the best 2 ways to do it. Paralysis, all of our paralysis is on coin flips. So with Wigglytuff and Frosmoth, just putting your opponent's active Pokemon to sleep, no coin flip needed to do it. Now they could coin flip out of it, but I think these are really strong ways to come back in the game, and are cards that I'd like to see, I think, included in more decks in TCG Pocket. But if you can think of any underrated cards in the Genetic Apex set right now, let me know in the comment section down below, and we'll see you guys in the next video.